And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I am Anthony Irwin, Senior Lakers Insider for Clutch Points from my little brother's bedroom. I am on vacation and had a really good feeling that we would be having to record an episode like this today, and still somehow wasn't as prepared as I would like to be. I don't have the swish noise. I didn't have the intro video. I'm on a completely different StreamYard account. So bear with me. But today on the show, the big news, the biggest news, frankly, of this offseason is that Luka Doncic is remaining a Laker for at least the next 3 years. So he and the Lakers agreed to terms on a 3-year max contract. It gets him to his full 10-year participation rule, and would then at that point be able to sign one of those super max contracts. Yeah, I think Rob Pelinka called it a momentous occasion, or the Lakers official account called it a momentous occasion. Luka Doncic immediately tweeted about it and said how excited he is to be a Laker and to remain a Laker. And it's a huge event here on this Saturday. Well, I guess now it's not. It is Saturday morning here where I'm at now. So monster development here for the Lakers. And in this episode, we're going to go ahead and talk about what it means for the Lakers right now and what it means for their immediate and long-term futures. We're going to talk about what this means for Luka and what this means for LeBron as we obviously near the end of his tenure with the Lakers. We'll talk about the flexibility that the Lakers will have by way of this contract and by way of the work that they've done this offseason. And then we'll talk about the offseason now that it's kind of in its it's kind of done now. It feels like you might get some kind of surprise move, but as it stands right now, it looks like this is the Lakers roster going into opening night, and it's a pretty good one. So, let's go ahead and dive on into Luka extending with the Los Angeles Lakers. Pretend you see a swish sign. All right, so I'm going to read from the Lakers press release that they sent out. Quote, the Los Angeles Lakers have signed 5-time All-NBA first-team guard Luka Doncic to a contract extension. The generational talent will be with Los Angeles long-term. Luka Doncic's future with the Los Angeles Lakers Luka Doncic's future is with the Los Angeles Lakers, said President of Basketball Operations and General Manager Rob Pelinka. Luka is one of the game's most transcendent players, and his on-court dominance and passion is without compare. From the moment Luka became a Laker, there was an immediate connection and admiration between Luka and our fans. You can feel it in your spirit when you attend a Lakers game. Luka is an absolute killer on the court and blends that with a unique generosity and care for the community. We've already seen that on display. I'll talk about that in a second. Above all else, Luka will lead our franchise pursue future championships, a goal that will forever define the Lakers. End quote. Then another quote. I'm really grateful to the Lakers organization, my teammates, and the fans for welcoming me and my family with so much support and kindness since day one, said Doncic. This is an amazing organization, and I truly believe in what we're building together. I'm going to keep working as hard as I can to bring another championship to Los Angeles and to make Laker Nation proud. This is just the beginning. I'm excited for what's ahead and to keep building something special with this team, end quote. And then it kind of goes into, here we go. As Doncic extends his commitment to the Lakers, the Luka Doncic Foundation is committing $5 million to help launch the futures of 77 young athletes around the world. This new program will support deserving athletes 12 to 15 by working to help remove the financial barriers that all too often prevent these young athletes from pursuing their dream. And then it goes into the history of Lenningham and yada, yada, yada. So you heard it there, right? Luka's really excited about it. He, since he's been in LA, right, he paid to fix the defaced Kobe and Gianna mural. He covered that GoFundMe cost. He is immediately, you see it here with these efforts as well, taking it upon himself to improve the lives around him using the revenue generated by this, labor contract. And that's kind of how he's wired. So that's been great to see. He's on that Jordan Brand tour. I guess that's a decent place to start. So the way that the tour was kind of put together, he was in Chicago Friday and then flew into LA shortly thereafter and intended to sign this contract as early as he could, and to officially sign this contract as early as he could. The negotiations here were rather simple. Luka's team put the contract the contract request on the table, and said I want a 3-year deal to get me to make me a free agent. Right after I hit that 10 years of participation in the NBA or playing experience in the NBA, and the Lakers were like, sure, we'll write it up. You can sign it, and we're ready to go. So there was no drama as it pertained to this contract, and I think that's really important to note because the offseason started with the Dorian Finney-Smith kind of fiasco, and there was some concern around the league. Oh, what does that mean for Luka? What does it mean here? The Lakers haven't traded Maxi Kleber, so they didn't further test that relationship. Not that I think it would have mattered. He wanted to sign as soon as he was traded to the Lakers. Everything that you kind of heard from that point on was he wants to be a Laker. He wants to retire a Laker. He wants to win as leading championships as he possibly can with the Lakers. And, that's all that we could possibly hope for, right? So he signs the 3-year deal. All throughout the offseason, he's been very active in helping however he can to put the best roster around him. He was in contact with DeAndre Ayton really quickly. He was in contact with Marcus Smart when he became available, or when it was looking like he was going to become available. He is also, by the way, putting in the tremendous work that he has put in this offseason to slim up and be ready for the upcoming season. So he has Eurobasket here in a bit. He wanted to get this done before he went to Eurobasket to secure his future, just in case the worst happens. Let's knock on some kind of wood to hope that obviously is not a situation that we have to worry about. But he wanted this done as quickly as possible. He wanted it known to the Lakers that he wants to be a Laker from here on out. He only wants to play with a second team. Frankly, right, he only wanted to play for the one team in Dallas, and they had different feelings on that front, and obviously traded him. And now we as Lakers fans get to benefit from it. So that's kind of the background on the signing of the contract. Now, as far as what this means here moving forward, in the immediate term, these next few years, the Lakers have Luka Doncic on a crazy discount. He could have been making upwards of $70 million, I believe, if he was still in Dallas these next 3 years, and then sign an even bigger contract there. The Lakers have him at a rate, when you compare it to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's making $70 million when his extension kicks in. Luka is I think he's a top 3 player. I think it's possible that this season we look at, especially if he maintains the conditioning and the commitment to that conditioning that he has so far this summer. If he maintains that, then we might be looking at a top 1 or 2 player in the NBA. So if you have the best player in the NBA, or one of the 2 or 3 or 5 best players in the NBA on a discount, that is the greatest market inefficiency that any team can possibly have. So what the Lakers basically have to do is, in these next few years, they have to nail these next few years. While he is on this contract, and obviously afterward, you continue to try to win. But this is their title window right now. It is from this moment until he signs his next extension. And then from there, you extend that title window. But this is their title window right now. And everything that they have to do, or everything that they have to be focused on, is winning a championship or winning as many championships as they possibly can from this next season to a few seasons from now. And whatever we think that might look like, or however we feel like it might look like, that's obviously, up for debate. But yeah, for what the Lakers are looking to accomplish and what he specifically, Luka, is looking to accomplish as a Laker, this is their best opportunity to get after it. So let's really quickly kind of talk about that, and then kind of dive into the long-term impacts of this as well. I feel so naked without my videos. I don't even have the Fuck Boston video. This sucks. Anyway, so the future, the immediate future is that you have Luka signing this contract, and they have this roster as it's currently put together, and the way that they put it together was with an eye towards this upcoming summer, this next summer. They wanted to obviously improve the team as best they could, but they wanted to maintain flexibility there, for this upcoming summer. Now, where it gets a little tricky, obviously, right, is Austin Reeves's extension or new contract, because the way that it has to work with Austin is he has to opt out of his contract, and then that's how he has to maximize his next deal. So we'll see what that kind of looks like. I'm gonna grab. Sorry, Alex. I'm gonna borrow a pen. Yeah. So you have Austin's impending free agency and what that deal kind of looks like. And given the amount of pushback that we have seen from the Warriors and from Brooklyn and from Philly on their restricted free agents, now it's different because they have more leverage there. Austin would be able to just bone out if he decided to next season. But yeah, for the Lakers, I would probably say that they're probably hoping to land Austin in that $30 million a year range. And if they do that and they have Luka's contract on the books, and I believe only Vando is the only player who has money on the book. Well, no, you have Laravia is on the books heading into next year. And no, I think that's it. So the Lakers want to have as clean a books as possible so that, they can present the threat. And they definitely want as clean a books as possible beyond next season. But again, Austin's contract, LeBron's potential contract, Rudy's extension, which I don't believe he's going to get an extension. So he's going to be a free agent after this year. So you got to factor in what he might be making. I would probably say he comes in at about, I would say like 20, in that 25 to 30 range, maybe a little lower. Yeah, maybe like 23 to 27 range is where I would probably forecast Rui's next contract to look like. And so and I'm going to answer it. Why are the Lakers prioritizing that? No one is available next year. That's a fair thing to point out. But the reason that they're trying to do that is so that they can go to Milwaukee or they can go to Denver and they can say, hey, your superstar doesn't look all that happy. Can we work out a respectable trade before that player reaches free agency and he leaves for nothing? And the Lakers would then next offseason be able to trade for that player into cap space or send out a couple of contracts. If Milwaukee wants a couple of players, they could trade those contracts and assume the rest of Giannis's deal into their cap space and then have cap space beyond that to sign whoever they feel like or trade for anybody into their cap space beyond adding Giannis to their team. So that I believe is kind of their plan and why they want their books as clean as possible. The other reason they want their books as clean as possible is because in this CBA, dead money or money going to players that aren't going to help you and especially money that extends beyond like not just veteran minimum contracts, but anybody signed to any more than the uh, mid-level exceptions. Those like if you have anybody signed to more than that money, more than exception money, that guy better really be helping you. And those teams that have players signed to anything more than that exception money or in that range, and if that player isn't helping you, that's a death sentence in this CBA. So the Lakers want to trim as much money from they want to trim as much fat from their books as they possibly can as a prep for, again, this title window, which starts today. It starts as soon as that ink dries on Luka's next contract. That's when the Lakers title window starts, and they're going to be hot on the pursuit of Giannis. They're going to kick. They're going to kind of loom large over Denver with Jokic as well. And the reason they'll be able to do so is because their guy is committed long term. So, this is kind of step one in that Giannis plan. The official first step in that Giannis plan is inking Luka to this contract and then having him, sell. And we saw what Luka selling did for the Lakers' chances at landing DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart. And obviously, we're talking about several tiers between DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. But the plan the hope is he gets on the phone and or All-Star weekend this year is going to be one to really keep a close eye on. Especially because I really truly believe in this roster. And if the Lakers start hot and they go into the All-Star weekend with plenty of momentum there, Luka's going to be able to go to Giannis and be like, well, it's not a great idea to do it here because my brother's room is a disaster. But he can maybe I'll put up there's like a virtual background I can use. Maybe this works better with he's like, Luka goes to Giannis and he says, "Hey, look at the way that look at this. I got a piano over there, really pretty fireplace right there. Like, look at my house looks great, right? Really nice couch, woodwork and stonework above the fireplace. Like, look at how I'm living. Your team has $20 million of dead day money on your books for the next few years. We're looking pretty solid. Our books are pretty clean. Who else do you want to play with? There's room here for Thanasis. You want to bring him with you? To tell you, we'll hook you up with JJ Redick's podcast production company, and they can do the Antetokounmpo's podcast and help you further monetize that too. What do you think? That's cap circumvention. They would obviously never do that, but I guess Luka technically sell them on that. But anyway, I'm going to turn this off because it's chopping off a portion of my head. But yeah, like the Lakers essentially are they're going to be able to utilize Luka's standing throughout the league and his long-term standing here with the Lakers, and he'll be able to I'm telling you right now, the Giannis Lakers noise is going to get really loud over the course of this season, and whether it's realistic, whether the one thing I've kept on wondering about is Giannis is just really loyal and saw how things went for Dame leaving Portland. He saw that up close, and if Giannis is just loyal and wants to remain with the Milwaukee Bucks his entire career, then obviously more to him. But if the Lakers get any sense whatsoever, and if Luka gets any sense whatsoever, that maybe, just maybe, Giannis is kind of looking around going like, they're gonna pounce, and it's gonna be a season-long pursuit. And if it gets on the way to the upcoming offseason, then you're talking about Giannis in a potential free agent year and all of that. But this year, if Miles Turner winds up not paying enough to get the Bucks to where they need to be, and if the Lakers look decent, then at the All-Star break or at the All-Star game, Luka's going to keep bugging him, and he's going to just kind of keep poking and prodding, saying like, "Hey, they've treated me pretty good here. Don't ask about how they treated LeBron, but like, look, they've treated me real good here." And I would say that that's going to be something we hear about plenty. Let's talk about the offseason now that it is this is going to be a shorter show because it's a Saturday afternoon and I'm on vacation. My kids are already in the pool and I would like to join them. But let's talk about the offseason now that it's kind of in its entirety. So again, pretend that this is the swoosh sounding. All right. So this offseason now is just outright a good offseason. They whatever however you feel about turning Dorian Finney-Smith into Ayton and Smart and LaRavia, how you feel about that, or however you feel about drafting Theoro, like this was the most important thing, right? This and frankly the fact that like I think LeBron has also kind of recognized and realized, I don't really have any better options out there, especially having seen Luka, in the shape that he appears to have gotten himself into. So you got the long-term commitment from Luka, and you got the short-term commitment from LeBron, I would imagine, and you have Austin and his agency. They're thrilled with the fact that LaRavia gets to come to the Lakers and will have a legitimate role in LA. Bill Duffy is thrilled, right? Because he gets DeAndre Ayton to the Lakers, and he'll have lob creators like Luka and like LeBron, like Austin. They even were able to get Jackson Hayes a bit of a raise, even though he didn't have a market coming into the summer. So you have, like, for the most part, I would say, the most, I guess, because somebody has to be, but the most kind of tweaked player is probably LeBron with how this summer went. But I think even once he sees, the beginning of the season, and if the Lakers start hot, I would imagine a lot of that noise will dissipate as well. I saw a lot of people were kind of freaking out about the picture that he took in front of the Clippers logo. And look, like, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, because I would obviously prefer he not take that picture in front of the Clippers logo. But from what I understand, that's like that's where Clutch has all of their guys work out in the offseason, whoever can get to LA. And that's an old Clippers facility, and they just haven't remodeled it. So you have a lot of Clippers signage there, especially in that workout room. And from how it's been kind of explained to me, there just isn't a ton of room where he could take that picture and not have the Clippers logo show up. Like, that's how all practice facilities are. Like, you look at the Lakers, and the Lakers logo is everywhere, right? I remember before they went into this current facility, and players would work out in their practice facility, the one that they had before, the UCLA Health and Wellness Center, I think is what it's called. Before the Lakers went to the current facility, they had another one that was a little, the walls were white, I believe, and there was a bunch of Lakers logos all over the place. And you would have pros come to LA, and this is a part of the CBAs dating back, I don't know even how long, but all teams have to make their practice facilities available to players whenever they're in that city, so that you don't have guys going and working out at like your local LA Fitness for various, I believe, obvious reasons. And so when guys would come and work out in LA or spend their off seasons in LA, and they'd be working out, they would go and work out at the Lakers facility. So you would have any number of pictures over the years with superstars with like the Lakers logos in the background. And it was always something funny for us, me to laugh at back before I was doing this, and say like, "Oh, look at this guy's going to be a Laker." Or even better, like after I started doing this for a living, or wanted to start doing this for a living, that became internet fodder for late July, August months where we don't have shit else to talk about. So like what I'm saying with all of this, that like LeBron taking that picture in front of the Clippers, maybe we look back on it and say it matters, right? You have that, and you have the pictures that he took in Cleveland with players there at the Cleveland facility. Like we could, if things don't go well between the Lakers and LeBron, maybe one day we look at how all of this played out and we look at the pieces, like actual slices of bread that LeBron dropped on the path here to wherever the eventual outcome here is between him and the Lakers. And you look back and you say, okay, yeah, that turns out that matters a little bit. Or if LeBron does retire a Laker, as the Lakers believe he is going to, then we look back at this stuff and we just like, oh, here's another example of everybody hyperventilating over something in late July, early August. So I believe LeBron, I don't know that he's like over the moon. Obviously, he hasn't sent a tweet about what he thinks about this roster. He hasn't publicly acknowledged any of the signings or anything like that. I haven't seen. I've been on the air, so maybe he has sent a tweet out to congratulate Luka on his contract. I'll just look really quick. King James. All right. So yeah, no, he hasn't. He hasn't acknowledged the contract in the hour or so since it was signed. But maybe he does, and maybe he doesn't. Who knows? Look, LeBron has always operated as the center of the universe in every organization he's played in, dating back to even before he got to the NBA. Now he isn't here with the Lakers, and that takes some getting used to. So, I still say he's going to be on the Lakers opening night, and I'd still say that I think the Lakers are going to be pretty damn good from opening night on, and they have the tools to improve over the course of the season as prices drop a little bit. And I think we might be looking at a pretty good season here. Do I have the Lakers as title favorites? No. What I will say is that at some point over the next few years, Rob Pelinka will have done a poor job if at some point over the next few years we don't go into a season and say, okay, the Lakers are title favorites in one of the next 3 seasons. This upcoming one, not going to happen. And then, in the fall one or the one after that or the one after that, like the at some point here, the Lakers have to enter a summer as a, in that S tier championship, contenders. And if they don't, then that would indicate that Rob hasn't done his job to the extent that he should have. But I still have them as like a tier 2 team right now in the West, and maybe in the entire league. Maybe like tier 3 team in the entire league. But as far as like what they could become over the course of the season, I could see them going into a series against OKC or Denver by the end of the season. If this season goes well, and if Luka's conditioning is a real thing and it continues on throughout the season, if he and LeBron start operating it at a higher level together than they did last year, and if Ayton, actually has, if not a career year, but a career resuscitating year. And if Marcus Smart is able to stay healthy, if Austin takes another step forward, if Rui takes another step forward, if Vando is playable, right? There's a lot of ifs. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of these teams have a lot of ifs. But if the Lakers' ifs work out to their potential, then I think the Lakers are as capable of anybody of doing something pretty cool this year. So, yeah, let's. I have a super comment here. So again, pretend you would get the sounder. Fuck Boston. I'm saying it too. All right, Anthony. With respect to Giannis, how was the relationship between Kostas and the Lakers? I believe amicable. Like I don't think there was any issue. I'll keep that up. But I don't believe there was ever any issue between Kostas and the Lakers. The Lakers brought him in hopes of tampering with Giannis. They obviously weren't able to land Giannis by way of employing Kostas. They saw some stuff there with Kostas that, they believed he could maybe build on, and he didn't. He didn't pan out as an NBA player, which, vast majority of human people don't. And yeah, as far as like, what Kostas would report back to Giannis about with the Lakers, I don't believe he has any reason to go to Giannis and be like, they didn't treat me well. Like, it was, they understood the assignment when they brought him into the organization. He didn't pan out as an NBA player, but the Lakers were very aware of the way that they treated Kostas and the impact that could potentially have on Giannis. We just saw this another example of it with Armel Traore, right, where his brother is considered a high lottery pick when he was coming into the NBA draft. Nolan, I believe, is his name. And with Armel, the Lakers were very careful with how they treated him, even though he wasn't very good as a player. The Lakers gave him plenty of opportunity, and they didn't want him whenever he departed. I believe they wound up waiving him, but they didn't want him to go to his brother and say like, "Yeah, that organization sucks." They gave him a pretty good view of the organization, just in the hopes that Nolan winds up being a pretty good player, and maybe the Lakers would have that built-in relationship with that family already. So they've done it before. The best example of this, right, was with KCP and LeBron back in the day, where they signed KCP. Rob called him manna from heaven. Remember that? And then, by the time LeBron was kind of looking elsewhere outside of Cleveland, the Lakers had that built-in relationship with Clutch. And, again, totally legally, obviously, did their work to entice LeBron, and were able to sign him as a free agent that following summer. So the Lakers know what they're doing in this specific regard. I think they can sometimes be a little too starfucker, but at at the same time, if you have a history, a built-in history of landing said stars, then you can operate with that being of your only kind of building principle is, how do we get stars, and then how do we maximize our time with them. So yeah, I would say that, with Kostas, the Lakers treated him the way that you expect them to treat a player that they knew the assignment with. And yeah, that's something that they have in their back pocket, as well as now Luka's long-term extension with the Lakers. Like, here's the other thing: had Luka not signed this extension today, or at all summer, and I think signing it specifically today at the earliest opportunity, one, thank you. Now that I get to just go back to my vacation like this, thank you, Luka. But also it sends a message to everybody: there was no fucking around here. There was no, there was no looking at Denver. There was no looking at Milwaukee. There was no looking at the Clippers. It was just strictly business. It was strictly a productive conversation. And now it winds up with Luka being a Laker here long term. And by sending that message, not just out to the rest of the league, right? There were plenty of teams. Miami was certainly kind of poking and prodding, seeing what was what with the Lakers and Luka. But all of those teams now, they kind of have to move on and say, all right, he's not really an option for us here. He's going to be a Laker from here on out. And had the Lakers had that hanging over their heads, you could forget the chance that they have at landing Giannis under those circumstances. But now that isn't something that anybody has to worry about. But yeah, it's great news here that the Lakers were able to get this done, get it done quickly, and use it as leverage to go out and get somebody else's superstar, rather than at any point whatsoever worry about the possibility of Giannis or Jokic getting in Luka's ear and saying like, "Hey, what do you think? What do you think? We're doing this." That's not something the Lakers have to worry about anymore. So That's the good news there. Tiffany asks, Anthony, are we winning the championship now? I would still put them a good deal behind OKC and Denver. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I actually have the Lakers in that tier with Houston. I know Houston looks really, really good, but KD's teams just haven't really mattered in the playoffs the last couple of years. And I want to see that in practice before I because look, the thing with tiers is you can always, bump a team up a tier, bump them down a tier. Right now, I would have the Lakers in that second tier in the West. You have OKC and Denver, and I have the Lakers and Houston and Minnesota. And we'll see, if the Warriors situation ever gets resolved with Kuminga. But I would say, yeah, tier 1, Denver, OKC, tier 2, in no particular order, Lakers, Houston, Minnesota. Who am I forgetting there? And then tier 3 would be Dallas, the Clippers, the Warriors, and I think that's it. That gives us 8 teams. Yeah. And then everybody from there on is just kind of a muddled mess in the West. So, if you start a season in that second tier, you have your work cut out for you. But I think the Lakers have the tools at their disposal here. Now, here's the thing: the Lakers got this commitment from Luka, and when they got that commitment from LeBron, Rob spoke at length about what they owe to LeBron and what they owe to the sport to maximize that opportunity with LeBron. And I don't think they did maximize their opportunity with LeBron and AD. And now we'll see, what happens here while Luka and LeBron are playing together. But I really hope that we don't look at any point and say like, oh, well, the Lakers got their commitment from Luka and then kind of took it for granted. I don't believe they will. I think we'll see the urgency necessary over these next few years, starting with this upcoming season. I think that's going to be kind of a big explainer for what the Lakers are going to be capable of with Luka. But I would say that, if you start a season in that second tier and maybe make a move here and there to bump yourself up a spot or two, that puts you in that realm where I wouldn't say the Lakers are going to win the championship. But here's what I say. Here's what I'll say. They can win a championship going into the season. I think they're one of a handful of teams that can go into the season saying we can win a championship this upcoming year. So, yeah. Oh, great point here from Bashir. Right, a Masai might help the chances of a Masai hire might help the chances of landing a Giannis. Yeah, I mean, like if the Lakers reach out to him and see what it would take to make him like a consultant or give him some kind of position in the front office, then maybe that would make some sense. Yeah, I would expect the Lakers, like basically everything they're going to do from here on out, now that they have Luka extended, everything that they're going to do from here on out is going to be with Giannis in mind, with the idea of enticing Giannis in mind. So if it's hiring somebody that he respects, like Masai, then they'll bring in Masai. That's how Guggenheim operates. If it's something like, Luka getting in his ear and asking him about who else he would play with, then the Lakers will go out and get those players that Giannis would also want to play with. If it's hiring an assistant coach or whatever that Giannis respect, they'll do that as well. I'm telling you, the Giannis noise is going to get really loud this upcoming season. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this thing here, chop it up, put it up on the RSS feed, and then go about enjoying the rest of my vacation. But thank you everybody for tuning in. 1,500 of you watching right now. Between Twitter and YouTube. If you're here new to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Those buttons obviously help us quite a bit. If you're on Twitter, head on over to youtube.com/@LakersLounge to find the show there. If you guys are listening via podcast, then hit that subscribe button, 5-star reviews, all of that good stuff. Recording this on a Saturday morning. If something big happens between now and tomorrow, or now and Monday, then I would ideally like to use this just as Monday's pod. Just because most pods don't do too much over the course of a weekend. So this will probably just be the podcast for Monday. But if we, if I have some time tomorrow, we're doing like a little birthday party for Avery with all of our friends and family out here. So probably going to be kind of busy. If I can get around to it, I'll open up the mailbag and I'll record a mailbag episode for y'all tomorrow. But in all likelihood, that'll probably be pushed back to maybe Monday. We'll do a Monday mailbag episode, and then I fly back on Tuesday, and then I'll get back and I'll record something on Tuesday. So with all of that in mind, basically, as I always say, hit the subscribe button and you won't miss any of these shows. Have a great rest of your weekend. Make somebody else's. Congratulations to the Lakers. Congratulations to Lakers fans. Congratulations to Luka on this contract. Huge, huge day here for the Los Angeles Lakers. Have a good one, everybody.